League of Europe today. We're here in Division 4 at round 10 for Belgium, and today it will be just me commentating. Unfortunately, we have had a few issues with commentators this week, meaning that so you'll have to deal with me for the whole hour or so that this event is. But either way, we've got a great track to do it on. Belgium, obviously, one of the more famous tracks on the calendar, which everyone loves driving, and it's a good overtaking track as well. So should lead to entertaining Division 4 race, as always, as we wait for Resify to ready up. And we can get going with qualifying and the race, which probably actually will see some rain at some point. As, yeah, it's a very overcast Belgium indeed, so maybe rain at the end of the session, I don't know what. And we'll see. So yeah, it's actually got to remember the track layout. Obviously, we're here pretty much every season in F1 real life and in League of Europe. It's obviously I don't know if it's a favourite amongst drivers across the divisions, but it's certainly one of the more complex tracks on the calendar, with obviously it being such a long one, so around 1 minute 42 lap time. As we have the first driver out, which is They Hate Melty, which I believe is a new reserve driver actually for today. So he'll be obviously wanting to make a good impression going into this race, and right behind him I think is also a new reserve in Born Claptiu, replacing Connects in the AlphaTauri for this weekend. As you can see, there's obviously quite a lot of drivers missing this weekend. Don't know if it's a busy week or the fact qualifying still has anything to do with it. Maybe, maybe not. We shall see. However, well done to the 14 people that turned up, which means a good chance of points for some of the drivers today that maybe don't get points off every week, like myself. So obviously, I don't know if it's a pad track. I'm trying to think if it's a pad track or a wheel track. It's definitely an ABS track, which is more than fair if people use it. It's just a mechanic in the game which people can use. I've said this all along, but yeah. As we shall ride on board with the Williams driver for the first lap of the session. Hopefully he does not invalidate or spin. Saying that now, he will probably. However, we shall see as he heads into the final corner. Will he take the line which many drivers actually tend to use when starting a lap to get a slightly better exit onto the first straight, up into fourth quite early there, get the best traction going down the straight. Heading into turn one now, what can he do? Into 8th gear actually, which is surprising. Locks up on slightly there, but a clean enough exit now onto the first long straight of the race, of the track. Up Radion, actually, not Eau Rouge. And yeah, now the DRS is activated, we can see what roughly time you can do in the first sector, which is a 30.4, which is quite a decent first sector, I think, for Division 4, I must say. I've not got the best idea on what lap time it's going to be, around 42 of some sorts, I reckon. I know Division 4 has quite a lot of good qualifiers in here, because I know they beat most beat times in Division 2 and Division 3 on a quite a weekly basis, I think. However, going into the end of Sector 2 now, he took the middle part of this up very nicely indeed, where you obviously need the downforce of the car to keep it planted through these sections, which are ever so easy to spin out of, especially in the race when you take the curb, a little differently to how you do one lap. And then yeah, 1:15.3 so far in the middle sector, and that it's looked like a very good lap so far from the Williams driver. Not been maybe one of his quickest attempts, maybe, I don't know, but it's looked a very solid, safe lap from the Williams driver. Heading into the bus stop chicane now, goes into second to get the turn in. Will he have an early upshift into third or not? No, he decides against that. However, great on traction on the end, and a 1:44.0 from the Williams driver, and a solid banker indeed. as we will find the next driver to cross the line, which is GMNR Jess, the Alfa Romeo driver, I think we're going to call, as he goes slightly faster. And then Wouter at a track I'm pretty sure he likes a lot, if I remember from the interviews last week, goes 9/10 quicker than the rest of the field. Obviously Wouter currently the championship leader here today. Resify last week failing to make the most of the likes of, who was it that didn't turn up last week? Hang on a second, need to get it up. Japsa was not here last week, and he's obviously not here again this week, which is and I think Wouter is missing the next 2 races in the championship as well, so obviously 2 races each are missed. Wouter's got to make the most of these races when he's not in the points. That MCR has actually made a mistake on his lap, and it's cause for him to retire from the session. Not what you would want from the McLaren driver. With obviously such a little amount of drivers on the track here, you want to be making the most of this type of race. It doesn't seem to be the case. However, McLaren driver, obviously him and Jordan have been really good at kind of matching each other in qualifying and the race across the season. They've not managed to do, I doubt they'll manage to do it again today, as we ride on board with Jordan, who takes, I don't know the name, but the fast left-hander very fastly indeed, and very smoothly, which is quite a shock. As I'm gonna load up something. No, nothing there, we're all good. And a 115.2 in the middle sector, a purple middle sector it says on my screen. Whether it's currently 3 times quicker than what Meltiel's doing, so should put him in around P3 for the time being, which is what you'd love to see as if you use Ariel Jordan heading into the last sector. Keeps it in 3rd gear. I've seen a lot of drivers been doing this like across the division this weekend, and as long as you can get the turn in, it's quite a good way to keep the traction, which Jordan shows by heading into P3. Like I said, good prediction. As maybe there is, I was going to say maybe there's some slipstream going on there, but with the AlphaTauris, however, that is not the case. He was waiting for Roman Consul, who I also think is a new reserve as well. A lot of new names here this week in Division 4, or me just being very forgetful, and Resify comes into the pits. As Steban done he has done his fastest lap on mediums, so Steban there in P6, currently the lone Ferrari driver today. He's looking quite good as Resify's retired from the session in the pit lane. So I think, did he have a quality ban? Not too sure. And I have seen from the chat, at least it's dry, so I'm going to guess that means the race as well, because obviously you'd care a lot more about the weather in the race than it is in qualifying, because qualifying doesn't get you any points. So if you are new to League of Europe, it is the top 12 drivers that will score points this race. If there's 12 drivers finished, obviously if you retire and you're in the top 12, you're not going to score points. That is quite self-explanatory, I think. I don't know. But yeah, so only 2 drivers, if everyone finishes, only 2 drivers will miss out on points as it stands today. Which hopefully everyone finishes, as you don't want to see people crashing out or lagging out. As I think we're going to ride on board with someone on a lap. A Lady on a lap. So obviously a Lady, he's been known quite so far this season to have very good race pace. However, his qualifying pace has been needs improvements, I'll say. I think he's found himself at the back of the grid more so than probably he would like. So today, obviously, it's quite an easy track to invalidate, Belgium. So Lady doing very well so far. Very fast middle sector, another purple middle sector once again. No idea if it's actually purple or not. However, going into the final sector, it's a very simple sector really. It's literally one corner, no, 2 or 3 corners, but it's mainly a straight. As he takes the bus stop chicane very nicely, does the Alpine driver, and across the line to do a 1:42.9, and does take that pole position. So like I said, he has quite a lot of pace in that Alpine, does Aledi. He doesn't seem to make the most of it most weeks, though, unlike today, so far. As his challenger for pole position at the minute, Wouter, is now going to set a lap. So we'll ride on board with him, as I think he's the only driver he's the furthest driver on a lap. I'll quickly check though. Storm is on an out lap. So is Steban. So yeah, Wouter will be the first one to recross the line. As we are currently halfway through the session, so obviously the drivers only I think you only get 3 runs in full, like going back into the pits and whatnot. I think you may be able to stretch the 4th run, just if you're very quick, or invalidate a lap, but apart from that, it should be the simple 3 soft runs here. Now, and Wouter has invalidated, so let's ignore that and ride on board with Lix, who's actually quite a way behind him. As GMNR in the Alfa Romeo, currently 1/10 up on his lap going into the end of the 2nd sector. Takes that very nicely indeed, keeps away from those curbs, which ever so dangerous. Keeps it valid. He's 7/10 up on his lap. This could be a very good lap from the Alfa Romeo drivers. Going to put him right around where Aledi and Wouter are at the minute. Going into this last sector. You see, he can't do much about this. This is all relies on setup, what time you find here compared to others. However, into the last corner, into a bit of a shift between 2nd and 3rd to get the traction going. He does it very nicely indeed, and it does indeed go on pole position. 9/10 improvement on his lap time, and a 42.8 from the Alfa Romeo driver. Very impressive. As Lix 3/10 up on his lap now as well, so he's on course for pole position if he can nail this last sector, or just be what he did last time through the last sector. So we shall see now. Obviously Mercedes this season, not known for their straight line speed, however last season and many seasons beforehand, this would be a Mercedes type track. As Lix does actually put it on pole position with a 42.6, so the times are tumbling here. They're slowly getting around to the times I'm doing, which is, what you love to see on a weekly basis, I think. As we're going to find someone on the lap. Bram on console in the Red Bull for today. Seeing if he can improve. Sorry for all the yawning, I am very tired today for some reason, I'm not too sure why. As he currently 6/10 up on his lap as well, so he's going to put these times clearly are tumbling quite a lot as it stands. And yeah. We shall see now. I can't really commentate much on this last sector. It's literally a straight line. Or flat out it's not a straight line, but it's flat out for the drivers. And coming across the line, can Bram get anywhere near the top 3? He does a 43.2, which puts him on the same, well, right next to his teammate on the grid. That's Ariel Jordan, who's currently 10th up on his lap time as well. Can he get anywhere near Storm's lap time as he comes through the last sector? No, he actually loses time in the last sector, which is not what you want to see, really. I'm trying to find someone on the lap, but I don't think that's the case. Has Bourne clapped you, actually, yet? Very interesting name from the AlphaTauri driver. On those medium tyres, there's a 44.0 and P10 at the minute. I mean, is it really that beneficial to start on the mediums? Not too sure. As we shall see now. Find someone on a lap time before we see what actually happens. But Storm, here we go. Storm is on a lap time. Can he do anything to make an impression on the top 6? No, he goes into the pits. So we're going to have a bit of a delay. Well, not a delay, as Storm actually retires from the session. I think, obviously, clearly doesn't think he can improve on his lap time. Is Bourne going for another lap? No, he is not. As we will ride on board with the other Alpine driver in Flip Nanzaran if he does not come into the pits. He does not. So, as he is one of the only drivers on track, we may as well ride on board with him because, well, better than seeing nothing on the screen, am I right? So, a very nice first corner. I didn't really see it, to be honest. I was just watching the end of the qualifying too on my iPad next to me. However, up Radion actually a bit of a loose rear end, which you don't actually see quite often. That may be a bit of a worry for the Alpine driver in the race if he's already losing it in qualifying. It's something you do not want to see at all, really. And a 30.4 first sector, which is, I think you want to be aiming for the lower end of the 30 seconds lap time. Going very wide there, does the Alpine driver on his lap. I mean, it says it's legal, so if the track limits say it's legal, if I say it's legal, that is not legal, however, and that is an invalidation. As now we will see everyone on their laps. So we've actually got Wouter on a lap as well, I think. No, he's invalidated, so he is not on a lap, as Aledi is on a lap, so we can ride on board with him as we go through Radion. Once again, it's a lot simpler these days in these F1 cars. It's just kind of a slight turn on the track. It's not much as a 30.1 first sector, which is what you do want to be seeing, a tenth and a half up almost on his previous best, which means the Aledi is absolutely flying around Belgium at the minute in these overcast conditions. It's not the best sector 2, I don't think, from him. It didn't look the cleanest, didn't look like the car was on rails as he may have liked, but coming to the end of sector 2 now, it looked a lot better through there than it did at the start of the sector. And I'm using the sector reference because I don't know the name of the track, yes. Touching that curve, very risky there, but he gets away with it, no spins indeed. Actually going in, shifting down into third there, but it's working for him. He's still a tenth and a half up on his time. It's going to put him around where the Lix is. Can he do anything now in this last sector? Obviously, for this part, he's got to absolutely nail. It all comes down to the bus stop chicane. Can he nail it or not? He locks up massively going into that corner. That certainly wouldn't have helped his lap time. But coming across the line, what does he do? A 42.8 puts him on the front row of the grid for now. However, what can everyone else do as Wouter currently on a lap once again? Championship leader today, obviously Rezify is actual title rival really in this race, as you'd say. He's currently in P11 without and retired from the session. Wouter's 3 tenths up on his lap. He's going to be looking right at that Mercedes for pole position. Going into sector 3 now, and we shall once again wait and see. Obviously, we're a bit used to a Mercedes versus Red Bull battle for the pole position in real life. And I'm sure we all know which side Wouter's on, because as I'm pretty sure he's a Max, well, he is from the Netherlands, so I'm guessing he's a Max Verstappen fan. And he goes pole position by around half a tenth of a second. So very nice lap indeed there from the Red Bull driver, as Lix was up on his lap until he spun out, which, I mean, kind of has put an end to his qualifying. So all eyes lie on everyone else now. Can others find a lap time out of nowhere, really? 30.2 in the first sector for the Alfa Romeo driver. I don't know how to say your name, so that's all I'm going to go with for now. Still slightly off what the likes of Wouter and Aledi were doing, so we shall see. He's maybe got a more downforce space setup, which he looks a lot more stable through here than Aledi's car did, to be fair. So what's the line? He takes a Steban out of nowhere, does a 42.3 in the Ferrari. What a lap that is. I'm kind of gutted I missed that lap now, because I need to take a few tips from him, I think. As GMNR has used that curb a bit too much, and he's done a very nice 720 spin, and has put an end to his lap time, and everyone else is invalid apart from Jordan, who is 5 tenths up currently on his lap time now. So he'll be wanting to make an impression on around middle half of this grid by the looks of his lap time so far. As he comes across the line, does improve by 4 tenths and gets into P7, which is not a bad spot to be at all for the McLaren driver. Solid points once again. As I think that will be an end to the session, I believe. With the Ferrari and Esteban maybe doing what the Ferrari in real life is doing and taking pole position at the Belgium Grand Prix here. Swiftly behind from the champ, Walter, 3 tenths off actually, with a massive difference in lap time really. You don't see often these days. In P2, joining the front row, Licks half a tenth back on P3. Not the worst place to start actually in Belgium, with obviously the long run up Eau Rouge at the start of this race. Such a slipstream down there, anything could happen. Ledine P4, GMR TIGS, no idea to say that name, I'm very sorry, in P5, Bram in P6, Jordan in P7, They Hate Melty in P8, and we'll run through the rest of the grid in a second. As all eyes will now focus upon the race. So Esteban, it's a very, very Dutch looking front half of this grid here, with 3 of the drivers out of the top 4 being from the Netherlands, or supposedly. So Esteban on pole, Walter in P2, Licks 3rd, Leddy 4th, GMR in P5, Bram on console in P6, Jordan 7th, They Hate Melty 8th, Storm, Jordan round off the top 10, Bjorn Clapdew the last person to set the line, and the bottom 3 did not set a lap time today, which, I mean, it's not what you want really going into a race. When you want to be able to set a good lap time to give yourself just some confidence almost to go into the race with. I don't know, you just feel more confident if you got used to the quiet tyres. So yeah, it's a very overcast Belgium circuit, Spa-de-Francorchamps circuit once again. We have a nice view of the podium where 3 of the drivers will be on later today, and Valtteri Bottas's pit garage. Maybe we could do with him in the Mercedes right now as well. As we wait for everyone to make their tyre choices, obviously the top 10, if you're new to League Racing or F1, for this season only, next season it shouldn't be like this, but the top 10 have to start on the tyre they qualified on, which would be the soft tyre, and everyone outside the top 10 will have a free choice of tyre to start the race. So, as the announcer says in the background, the Belgian Grand Prix has been cancelled due to flooding. I mean, it looks quite dusty if anything, not flooding, as you can see, with 3 of the 4 drivers outside the top 10 all deciding that the medium tyre will be best around here to do the alternate strategy. Whereas Flip wants to make some positions up at the start, and he's gone for the soft tyre. Very interesting choice indeed from the Alpine driver. Maybe he feels like alternate strategy won't be much benefit due to the lack of drivers here, or I don't know what. Either way, it's it's set up to be a very interesting race, that's for sure. As I'm currently also seeing who is doing well in qualifying, and it's just started Q3 actually, so obviously glad to see that Mick Schumacher's okay. We can do a little thing for him. Obviously a massive crash if you haven't seen already in Q2. Oh, that's all I'll spoil about. Didn't get pole position, strangely enough. However, yeah, it's good to see that he's okay and out of the car, that's for sure. As we now wait for everyone to round off the grid, I've always thought these formation laps are a bit useless. They're a bit of a waste of time in my opinion. I know people want the tyres warm, but everyone has the cold tyres. It's going to be the same effect really, I feel. As we now wait for everyone to funnel round through the last sector of probably the longest formation lap of the season. Maybe this or Singapore actually, don't know. But obviously it's quite a lot shorter race compared to Singapore, which we're all glad for, I'm pretty sure. As now we've got 22 laps ahead of us. Esteban is the first one on the grid. What shall we see from him today? I'm going to do a quick prediction for the top three. I'm going to say Aledi's going to win, with Lix in P2 and Esteban in P3. Going for a bit of a different idea today. Probably be wrong, mind you, but yeah. As we now wait for MCR to finally settle into his grid spot, and we now will have the 5 red lights ready for the start of the Belgium Grand Prix, round 10 here in League of Europe, as we are underway. And Wouter seems to have got a worse start actually compared to Esteban, and Lix looks down the inside of Wouter actually, trying to grab the position whilst he can, which actually gives Esteban a bit of a breathing room going into this long straight now, which I think Wouter's going to be pretty terrified going up here on the first lap. Takes it very safely indeed. It's going to give Lix a perfect slipstream here though. So will Aledi, so will GMNR. They all have a perfect slipstream. Can we see a 4 wide moment maybe? As everyone is burning their ERS down the straight, trying to make moves as they can. As GMNR actually goes round the outside of Aledi. What a move from the Alfa Romeo driver. And he is into P4. Very nice move from the Alfa Romeo driver there in his debut for League of Europe. Anyway, it didn't look like it looks like he's been league racing for a long time, that's for sure. As we now head into as now each driver going to get a bit comfortable with their tyres, see what the grip is like on the track. It doesn't seem to be great, as there's quite a few people running right there actually. But Esteban does hold the leads by around just 4/10 of a second to Wouter, so quickly look at position changes. As I will try and find it eventually. Has anyone had a good start? Bourne clapped you on those medium tyres. Very nice start indeed, as long with MCR. As the yellow flag is said, as actually Ramon Console is out of the race, and that is a virtual safety car. Now, what does everyone do here? As a very big crash there from the Red Bull driver, not what you want to see at the start of the race. Will drivers decide to make a pit stop? No, they will not. Thinking that the soft tyre is, well, not the soft, the hard tyre is not the way to go here. As Jordan thinks otherwise. So obviously we've got ERT Jordan, got 2 Jordans. They're both one's from Relentless and one's from ERT. Don't know what ERT stands for. Extra racing time. Race. Who knows? As there's quite a few front wing changes actually going on here. And they're all going onto the medium tyres, which suggests, or the soft tyres, which suggests that there's actually quite a lot of action that I may have missed. However, a perfect time to get a wing change would be the virtual safety car, as it doesn't make the pit stop much quicker, but it does help quite a bit, that's for sure. Anyways, as the safety car is still out actually. So, and we are finally back underway here. The started in a very awkward section of the track where, once again, no overtaking can be done, I don't think. Not looking for moves usually in this part of the track. And yeah, obviously everyone's still within DRS, which will make it a lot more challenging for Esteban at the front, as DRS will actually be enabled to start the next lap, which, once again, if you're new to F1, DRS is like a bit of a overkill advantage, almost. It's like an extra top speed benefit that the cars get within 1 second of the car. So if you're within, well, there's another person out, as Bourne clapped you this time in the same place there was a safety car last time. There won't be one this time, however. Clearly thinking the race is too safe. The races are safe this time. As Lix now actually under pressure from GMNR. GMNR wants to get into the DRS of Mr. Wouter as lap 3 starts. However, what he's done is caused a bit of a problem here for whoever's leading into this main first straight. I'm very sorry, I'm very bad commentating on my own, if you couldn't tell already, but Now, Lix and Aledi should all have DRS on Gemini in front of him, so it's going to be a bit of a sitting duck here. There's just no way in hell he can defend from either of them, I don't think. As Lix is through, Aledi's through. And yeah, very nice move from both drivers, a move which originally saw the Alfa Romeo onto the podium has now seen him drop into P5 and, more importantly, given the front two a bit of a room to get away from that DRS train, which I'm sure Steven will be absolutely buzzing about, I think. You'd guess so anyway. As we are now down to 12 runners, so obviously if you finish the race now, you will get points, which I think I might need, to be honest. I think that's something I would love to see, really. As yeah, Reservoir gets the first penalty of the race. Well, actually, no, I think Flip had one before. But both drivers having penalties at the start of the race is not what you want at all, really. Yes, there's been a move going on here as they hate Melty going a new version of the track, I think, into the end of Sector 2 here, and he does stay ahead of Jordan, I think. However, now as we enter the end of lap 3, Wouter all over the back of the Ferrari driver. Steven setting quite a good pace, however, on those soft tyres. And yeah, shall we see if he does anything with the DRS? He's certainly close enough to make an impact if he wants to. It's whether he wants to go to the move, I think. As Aledi has actually also been dropped by Lix as well, so the gaps are opening up here. As GMR is round at Eau Rouge, that's a massive crash there, and a full course safety car has been deployed. So not what you want to see here, as we're now down to 11 runners. So, I mean, it's going to be like a bit of a drive to survive sort of episode here. We've got the dramatic music in the background. I'm just going to be talking about all the crashes. I mean, if you keep it on the track, you may have a good chance of winning today, by the looks of it so far, as we've had one retiree per lap so far. No. We had lap 2 when no retirees, never mind. However, this does mean that a lot of drivers can make a strategy change. Will they go for the mediums? Will they go for the softs? Will they go for the hards? Or will they stay out? It's a debate everyone's really asking at the minute. Heading now down the back straight. So the safety car is out on track now, ready for the leaders to catch up to him. It's just who will be the leader when they catch up to a safety car, I think, now. As I'm just seeing a very fast lap being completed in qualifying 3 at Saudi Arabia, as GMR has left the session, which, I mean, I don't blame him really. So yeah, we shall see what the drivers do now. We're right on board with the leader, Steven. Will he come into the pits? Yes, he will. Will Wouter? Will every single person in the field pit? Yes. Even MTR on the mediums has decided to pit. Now that is an interesting call. What will the drivers go on to, though? Now the question. They've all decided to go onto the mediums, I think, apart from Storm, who's yet to reach his pit entry. As Storm, as MCR, obviously, because he started on mediums, he's had to go for the hard tyres. Oh, wow. Ooh. Now that is interesting. What we've just seen there is definitely not Kevin Magnussen go pole. As I've run out of things to say, so I'm going to quickly search up some facts about Belgium to keep you all interested whilst we wait for the safety car to go into the pits. So Belgium, they had a football match today actually. They were playing the Republic of Ireland, so hopefully for Gary and Brendan's sake and any other Irish people in the League of Europe, they lost, I hope. England are currently winning because, you know, it's coming home, so why wouldn't it be? France won yesterday, okay. Ireland 2, Belgium 2, wow. 85-minute equaliser from Ireland led to equaliser. So yeah, that's my bet down the drain, which you just love to see, really. I mean, nothing better, is there? So yeah. With that being said, I don't know what else to speak about. The safety car should come in this lap, should it not? Now, everyone's caught up, there's no reason, there's no debris on track. We should go in, please. As I'm really running out of things to say so far. I'm sorry for you watching, because it'd be much better if there's 20 people in the lobby, but... And the safety cars decided to stay out for another lap. Oh, just what you want. So from England to Belgium, it's a 1-hour flight. It's not that long. Let's just do Belgium facts. It's a country in Western Europe known for its medieval towns, Renaissance architecture, and as headquarters of the European Union and NATO. NATO being quite relevant at the minute due to some of the stuff that's happening in other parts of Europe and Asia, I think. As I'm going to search up Spa Belgium facts, as I think that'll be more beneficial for the people watching. It is the longest track on the calendar at 7.404 kilometres. It has 9 left-hand corners, 10 right-hand corners. Also has the highest elevation change on any circuit in the calendar, with 102 metres being the difference between the highest and lowest points of the track. Did you know that? Spa Belgium is known for it's quite a tourist destination. There's obviously the trees in the distance. It's quite the track's quite a far away from the town, I'm pretty sure. So yeah, the race facts about the Belgium Grand Prix. Ooh, let's check this. Hosted Grand Prix racing events as far back as 1925, and is also part of the first year of the Model World Championship in 1950. In early years, the Spa track was a 14-kilometre high-speed track, which, I mean, is quite ridiculous, which used mainly the local roads in the town. It's quite a historical track, this, and one of the better historical tracks, unlike the street circuit that we know as Monaco, which is just a bit boring. Let's be honest. However, I do believe the safety car should come in this lap. I'm begging. It comes in this lap, to be honest. There's no reason for it not to come in this lap, really, is there? As we will see the safety car in this lap from race control. Your things you love to see, really. And Steban, who has led every lap so far, will get us back underway and become the safety car for the last sector. And he will choose when he would want to leave a try gap right behind him. Honestly, I don't know if I'm going to stay awake for the Division 2 race. I'm that tired already. Which is just what you want to see, really. As well as Steban is keeping up with the safety car quite a bit, leaving it quite late. He's not giving himself much time for a restart, and Wouter is right on the back of him. He's decided to play it very safe and just go at the last corner like you used to have to, as it has worked as well. It's got a 6/10 gap to Wouter now into the first corner. Can Wouter do anything, or will he be under threat from the likes of Leddy behind, who made a move on Nix, who went way too deep into turn 1. Maybe those cold tyres, what's the word? We'll leave it for now. As now Wouter under pressure from Leddy behind, only 3 attempts back, neither of them using the ERS though to try and make a move. As Ariel Jordan gets past Storm and into P5, great move from the McLaren driver, who's been who's got his teammate in MCR on those hard tyres right behind him in P7. McLaren once again on for a very strong result. Resify wanted, after qualifying last on the grid, I think he'll really be wanting to make moves on people now as the race goes on. His championship rivals in P2. He's got to make the most of these points whilst he can. Like this, a day where there's as little drivers as there is today. High points are up for grabs here. Like, if you finish the race, you're guaranteed points. You don't get that often, as someone is off in the background as Malty has used that auto spin curb a bit too much there, it seems, and has caused him to do a bit of a spinella, and it's caused him to be plumb last of the grid, but you're still getting points, so it's alright. It could be worse, you could be getting 0 points. As we head on to lap 8 eventually now at this Grand Prix, we're almost halfway through, which is weird to say because we're on lap 8. Wouter and Leddy look very close to the back of this Ferrari driver, with Lick slowly joining them as well. He's got some heat in the tyres now, and he's getting back to the pace which we saw in qualifying, as Malty has decided to retire in the pits, which I'm not going to say anything because you should really just carry on. But, you know, oh well. Now we're on board with Wouter. He's right over the back of that Ferrari driver. He looks the quicker driver, I think, at the minute. Yeah, how I say that, and Steven's kept a quite comfortable distance so far this entire race. So maybe I'm wrong. As I have missed Storm actually getting re-past Jordan. These two having a lovely little battle here for P5 and P6. As MCR is actually probably looking at this, and Jordan and Resify all looking like we can get quite a good few positions there, and they're actually losing a lot of time to the front four runners, which you don't want to see really. You want that whole train really fighting for the win. I mean, I do anyway. A train where it actually overtakes happen though. That type of train. As there's a car off in the background there, as it slicks off. As I was saying, that front four gap's now become a top 3. Well, it's a bit like Australia at the minute. There's a lot of mistakes happening from the drivers on the grid, and I'm guessing going to be happening in every division as well, not just Division 4. So, Licks, please don't retire. Just carry on, please. I'm begging you. Can't have 9 drivers in the race. However, Storm now is going to be right under pressure from Jordan with DRS now back enabled. As we're going to quickly ride on board with the likes of Wouter to see if he will make a move on the Ferrari driver here now with DRS. As there's another driver off, it's ERT Jordan now. There is now only 9 drivers. And there's a virtual safety car once again. It is Drive to Survive currently in Division 4. And we're down to 9. So yeah, another virtual safety car. And yeah, I mean, what can I say really? I mean, it just neutralises the race. Yeah, nothing else to say. It gives drivers a chance to recover ERS, which I'm sure Stepan made, as we are back underway actually. Stepan and Leddy look very close to each other. That dirty air washing the actual Alpine off near the wall where we've seen quite a lot of incidents already so far today. And that restart has actually gave Storm a bit of a chance to break away from Jordan. All the drivers using a lot of ERS here, trying to keep up with the people in front of him, and Storm there in the last corner alone gained 4 tenths on the front 3. So these guys need to stop back. They need to almost work together at this current stage, as otherwise the whole field, I mean apart from Nix obviously, are going to be on them, and that's not what you want. As Jordan has actually managed to catch back up to storm, so this train once again will continue on. Reservoir now actually with, oh, it nearly makes a very similar mistake to ERT Jordan. Just about survives, and yeah, life goes on. As McLaren are now looking at a very good P5 and P6, as they're the only team on the grid with, oh no, Eledi in P3 and Flip in P8. I was going to say they're the only two drivers with two drivers actually still racing in a team. So yeah, interesting fact they number one. His MCR on those hards must be hating life right now. I think he may have realised he made maybe the wrong decision, going picking the hards and maybe not pitting back again onto the mediums. That's what I think I would have done, maybe. However, it may turn out to be a very good decision when those mediums become very sketchy at the end. As now, once again, we have this little front free train. All within a second, this front three, by the way. Nothing separating them at the minute. And Reservoir now looking for the move on MCR. We'll be thinking about it maybe going into the last corner, however he chooses not to. Maybe chooses to get the bare exit instead. Which he does seem to do, actually. No, he doesn't, never mind, I was wrong. As Reservoir will be wanting to make his way through this field quite quickly, because you'd be able to sense a podium, I think, at the minute. The way drivers are spinning and actually retiring from their spins as well. He's got a very good run on MCR here. He actually had to lift up Eau Rouge there, which you don't usually see. As we're going to quickly to the front as no one makes a move, so we'll go back to Reservoir, who does make that move on MCR. Can he be the last of the late breakers? He actually goes onto the auto spin curb, just about survives. I don't know how, because I'm going to have to ask him how he did that later on after the events of last season. For me, that curb gives me nightmares, personally. But yeah. He's taken the esports line. Very interesting. Not sure you need to do that personally, but I don't actually think it gives you that much of an advantage. I've never seen it gain people much of an advantage. However, the quick guys do it, so it must work, right? As Reservoir is slowly working his way through the field. I mean, he's now got another chance at another McLaren without DRS this time, so he should be set up for a very good opportunity here to get past and into a very good point scoring position, actually, P5, as he's almost dropped MCR already, as we are now over halfway through this race, thank the Lord. As yeah, you gotta feel sorry for a bit for Licks here at the minute. I think he's in P9, he's in the middle of nowhere, he's hoping for a safety car, which with this little amount of drivers on the grid, is quite unlikely to happen, unfortunately for him, but you never know. With these front drivers, Eledi right on the back of Wouter here, actually struggling to keep it on the track at all. This 38 really causing people quite a lot of problems up Radion, sorry, my bad. As now Reservoir with much more ERS than Jordan and DRS as well. It's a very simple move for the AlphaTauri driver and puts himself into P5 on the grid. As MCR has actually been overtaken by Flip Namsaram as well, so Alpine and McLaren having a little scrap here to find who's getting the most points this weekend. Decent little scrap if you're not watching the front battle, which we are now, because I think we say that we're going to watch Reservoir maybe make another overtake in a couple of minutes time. As once again, the front, Esteban's had it covered quite easily so far, I'll say. He's obviously not been able to drop out of DRS, which maybe he would have preferred, but Wouter's definitely not challenging him at the minute, as Eledi's actually round in the background, and that is another driver which has been put, I don't know what the word is, another victim of, I don't know what corner that is, the start of Sector 3. That fast right-hander, which is so easily flat, Not sure what setups people are using maybe, but it doesn't seem to be beneficial for whatever. Maybe I have to rethink what my setups are like. However, Reservoir setting the fastest lap of the race, currently on fire. He's caught right up to the back of Storm at the minute, and it should be another easy move for the AlphaTauri driver, who then will find himself on the podium. As it is now currently just a straight fight between the Ferrari and Red Bull, which we're going to see, I think, quite a lot this season, for the race win. As Reservoir storms past Storm and into P3 on the grid. As Aledi, after that spin, is now down in P8, which, I mean, is still points, but it makes the whole McLaren v Alpine fight a lot more interesting, I think, so we can stay on board with that. As we now wait to see who else decides to make an overtake. So yeah, there's currently very little battles happening. I think MCR chasing after Jordan, who is, and MCR is being chased by Aledi. I think that's the battle we're going to stick on for now. As we'll have a quick look at the front battle. Both on very similar ERS, both fighting for the win, both got no penalties. It is quite a stereotypical fight for the win here. It's just whether Wouter, if and when Wouter's deciding to make a move on Steve. I'm actually getting flashbacks to D3 last season, a Red Bull and Ferrari fighting for the win. So let's hope it doesn't end the way it did for a Ferrari driver that time. As I'm saying this because obviously any experiences I've had at Belgium, really, and fighting for the win. And Wouter is deciding to use some of his ERS this time. Is he going to go for the move on Esteban now? Esteban goes defensive on the inside side, giving himself quite a narrow run into the corners. Wouter decides to make him go round the outside completely there. And yeah, Esteban, for the first time this race, is in P2. What is his pace like, and what is Wouter's pace like now, as we got another driver off now, and this time the Storm in the Haas, which, I mean, is that pretty much, apart from Reservoir, the front three, I think everyone else may have, actually no, most drivers have had a spin. Most drivers haven't had a spin at this point, apart from the bottom three, I may say. But as we look back at this front battle, I tell you what, Esteban is keeping a lot closer to the back of the Red Bull than the Red Bull did seem to, than the Red Bull was against the Ferrari for the last 14 laps. So going back onto this straight, it'll be Esteban with the DRS this time. Well, so we'll be able to see what he can do this time. Can he do anything actually? He's close enough to, with the little helping hand of DRS that you get on the main straight here, he's able to keep right up the back of the Red Bull, which I'm sure he'll be wanting to get rid of this image. He'll be wanting to get that nice clear fresh air that he had for so long, as he's definitely within attacking range if he wants to attack. The question is, will he decide to attack, as he's not using his DRS, so he's still got the DRS open. He's actually thought better of it, as we've now got another person round. This time it's Philip Namzaram and Storm right behind him, and that is Storm out of the race, surely. No, Storm's car has survived that in complete... I mean, he's lost his front wing, but apart from that, I mean, what is going on in this race, really? You got to ask questions. You'd think maybe they wouldn't be struggling so much 14-15 laps into the race, as it should be quite low fuel now, and the tyres shouldn't be that bad on wear. But the drivers seem to be struggling more so than they did a couple of laps ago now. And Esteban once again well within this DRS range of Wouter. Is he going to try anything this lap round, or is he going to save his DRS? We shall see. Wouter's got a bit of a gap actually here this time round, so should be safe from any attacks that Esteban may have in mind. As I say that, Wouter's not had the best exit going onto this corner. Esteban is well within range if he wants to attack. Whether he decides to. As Leddy's actually made the move past Jordan into P5, so this little Alpine versus McLaren battle gets more interesting once again. As Wouter actually, I think, almost lets Esteban through there. And once again we have a change for the lead for the second time in this race, and we now will see if Wouter can once again keep up with the Ferrari driver. There's a Leddy already on the back of the McLaren driver MCR, who's now hard, should start to become the slightly better tyre, I'd presume. They shouldn't feel as bad as they did at the start of the race, that's for sure. As we still got 9 drivers in the race, which is what you love to see. No one has actually retired in the pit lanes, which is also good to see. As we head on the last few laps here, Reservoir is slowly catching that gap down to the front runners. However, the yellow flag in sector 1 as Storm is now out of the session. And it's a safety car. Ooh, that is interesting. As we're now down to 8 runners today in Division 4. As the front drivers do head into the pit, which is not surprising one bit. As I'm guessing they're all going to go on a little 5-lap sprint on the softs. As once again I'm going to get up my Belgium facts. Obviously, last season in the real F1, we did have a Belgian Grand Prix, even though there was COVID still taking place. However, no race actually happened, because if you watched, you would have been aware of the chaotic wet weather which we had at the track, which meant that we had a few laps under the safety car, and then they decided, we'll give points to the drivers, even though they've actually not done anything. But, you know. Did you know the fearsome Rouge/Radion corner is arguably the most famous one on the current F1 calendar? Features an elevation change of 35 metres from its lowest to highest point. Of the current drivers on the grid, well, this was before, it was Kimi Raikkonen and Lewis Hamilton has shared the best record at Spa with 4 victories, and Vettel has won 3 times. In 2019, Leclerc became the first driver to score their first Grand Prix victory at Spa since Schumacher did in 1992. Bit of a interesting fact there. Both, well, I don't think Schumacher was in Ferrari at the time. However, but yeah, very interesting nonetheless. So yeah, very interesting stuff. I mean, we're now down to 8 drivers, as we can quickly check penalties. Let's see. Fastest lap currently goes to Reservoir. I think that will be beaten, however, as Reservoir also has 3 seconds worth of penalties. So does Jordan. And Flip in P9 currently has 9 seconds worth of actual penalties. We've got MCR with 10 position change, and now on the soft tyre as well. He's had a very good race in the McLaren. I'm sure Lando Norris or Ricciardo will be wanting that at the end tomorrow as well. As if you're in the comment section right now, what are your thoughts on tomorrow's race? And Storm says He had rear wing damage and was hoping that he could limp around to the end, and Malty said the same. That's why he had to retire. So obviously very unfortunate for them both. Don't want to see retirements in F1, but they do happen. So yeah. As I'm currently looking for the non-attendance. As we once again go round a Spa Frankenchamps under the safety car. It's becoming a bit of a regular thing. So yeah, I'm very sorry for this. I'm quite unsure what to think. So Malty has said the race shouldn't go ahead in Jeddah. I actually completely agree with you. It definitely shouldn't. There shouldn't be a race in Saudi Arabia anyway to begin with, and it's a way too dangerous track for a race to happen. And Malty thinks it's going to be Red Bull versus Ferrari again tomorrow. PC Plodder said it's sad to see Hamilton that far back. As a Hamilton fan myself, I mean, it was very depressing, I must say, today, seeing him knocked out in Q1. He just seemed to have a bad day. Didn't even... I don't know what went wrong, really, because he's been decent enough in practice. However, it makes it an interesting race. I said that he should take an engine penalty, but maybe just use that later on. I don't know if that's allowed, if he's allowed to do that or not, but we'll start in the pit lane or something to stop the chaos in turn one. But that's what I'd try something different if I was Hamilton, because realistically he's got nothing to lose in P16. He may as well make the most of that, as the safety car should be in this lap actually. Wow, that's quite an interesting word. Yeah, Malty, I think you may be right there with him being a bit distracted, as yeah, the safety car is now in this lap, so I will stop just reading comments and get back to a 4-lap sprint to the end of the race. It's a bit like a 5-lapper here. Hopefully we don't have the idiocy of the drivers that we have in 5-lappers in open lobbies. However, Steven will once again, for the third time this race, get us underway. What will he do this time? Will he do the same tactic as last time? Welter may be more aware of it this time. He hasn't. He's gone at the same time, and Welter once again has not clocked on that is what Steven is doing. However, Rezify hasn't really clocked on either, and the gap's quite spread out going into turn one here. Can Rezify make a move here? He needs to make his moves fast if he wants to. However, with that penalty in it that he currently has, he's got the run on Welter for sure. Can Rezify do anything? It's given Steven a bit of a break here. Rezify going for the inside line. Maybe he doesn't want that. I would definitely vote with Welter on the outside. Rezify braking much later than Welter, however, and gets the move done into P2. What a stunning drive this has been so far from the AlphaTauri driver. MCI now looking all over the back of the Red Bull driver once again. Actually, not once again, for the first time this race, I may add. Let me say, as Steven has had one of the greatest restarts I think we've seen. I've actually remembered. Oh no, I'm not going to say that, because I think that may be a commentator's curse there. However, with just over 3 and a bit laps to go, Steven is in a very good position here in the Ferrari. He's got that 1 second gap. Rezify doesn't seem to be closing, and Rezify with a penalty as well, it's very unlikely he's going to be able to make that 3 second gap stick to anyone. Is now Aledi looking to charge back through the field from what seemed to be quite a position where there's no coming back now. He's got much better straight line speed than MTR does in the McLaren. He's going to look round the outside into the bus stop chicane. Can he make it stick all the way around the outside? Obviously no one will have the RS. He manages just about to brake on time, as he takes a penalty there, and as a result of that move, he's actually resulted in a penalty, nearly getting taken out of the race as well. Jordan which has now led to Jordan, MCR's teammate, actually getting quite a good run on the Alpine driver. It just seems that Alpine is rapid in a straight line, I must say. As Lick's in P7 wanting to he can make up quite a few positions actually. With the people in front having penalties, if he manages to keep it clean in these last few laps. Wouter does not seem to have the pace to keep up here with the Reservoir or Steban in matter of fact. Ever since the restart, these soft tyres just don't seem to be working for the Red Bull car. His MCR is also not far off the back of these guys either. He'll be wanting to keep in that 3-second window to Reservoir to see himself on the podium for the first time this season, I believe. As now this second lap underway, Reservoir is beginning to close that gap to Steban, but if I'm Steban, I wouldn't be that worried really. Steban doesn't have a penalty and Reservoir does. He doesn't have to battle there if he doesn't want to. That's my opinion on it all. I wouldn't risk it personally. Battling and maybe losing or spinning or picking up a penalty. As now DRS will be enabled this coming lap. As we shall see whether Reservoir can get the move done on Steban. He is absolutely flying along the minute, the AlphaTauri driver. However, he's used a lot of his ERS, so has Steban actually as well. Going up Radion now. Can Reservoir do anything? He's gonna try and burn his ERS to get past to maybe. He's going to put himself in the best position he can to win this race. He does get the move done very easily indeed, but I must say from the AlphaTauri driver. And he is into the lead of the race. Whether he's there in 2 laps time, we shall see. As the lady picks up another penalty now. That's not what you want to see for the Alpine driver at all. And I think this will mean Lix will actually promote himself into P5 as long as he can stay with these guys for the remainder of the race. As Steban, I was nearly on board with one of the biggest mistakes of the season, as there's a car off at the background, this Flip Namzaram, and that has put Steban in quite a precarious position here. He's out of DRS of the AlphaTauri in front of him with Wouter right behind him. He's got to be very careful here going onto this last straight on the last lap. Reservoir's blinker is showing. It will mean that Steban knows he's got no ERS left. He will get DRS on this first straight here, so it will be more than enough protected from the Red Bull behind, I believe. But going on to this second straight, he needs to have a very good first corner to keep within DRS. He does seem to be able to do that very easily. Yeah, he may be able to get back past Reservoir if he wants to anyway. Going up this straight, he'll be able to burn his ERS. He won't. He's decided not to actually, and he's just going to sit behind the AlphaTauri driver. Now this, I wouldn't do this personally. I know Ish says Reservoir's got a penalty, but we've all seen stewards overturn penalties in the past. I mean, Steban's driven a brilliant race from pole on the grid, so has Reservoir. Both these drivers deserve to win it, and I just don't like it coming down to penalties, I think. I'd much prefer to see a battle on track. As we now head on the last lap, head around this last lap, there's nothing really else I can say really. There's no battles going on. Everything's sort of sailed down after the safety car restart, which, I mean, it's not surprising with the little amount of drivers we do have on this grid. Reservoir from, I'm going to find out what, he's gone up 11 positions, so from P12 on the grid, I believe, that's right in saying. He's gone from P12 on the grid today all the way through the field, avoided the chaos at every time, and he's going to come through on track at least to win the race today. However, with that penalty he currently has, Steban will be the driver who picks up the win from pole position. Wouter in P2, so extending his championship lead once again. A brilliant drive from all three drivers on the podium today. MCR from last on the grid. Brilliant race from him to end up in P4. Good solid points for McLaren with Licks in P5. As I will now quickly get them into the party because I've got a race to do soon. No, that's the wrong one. Played together. As I just need to find Steban, Rezify and Wouter. As I will now add them to the party, and hopefully it means we can have a little podium interview from the front three drivers on the grid today. So Steban comes through from first on the grid. From the looks, if you just looked at qualifying in the race, it looked like quite a boring race. With Steban won at first and Wouter second, both 1-2 on the grid as well. Rezify in P3 from 12th on the grid. MCR from P14 to P4, brilliant drive from him. Licks P5, good recovery after, I think he had a spin, did he not? Ryan saying. Jordan in 6th, so McLaren once again a good bunch of points in the constructors fight for them. Leddy in P7, Flip in P8, and that is actually the last of our finishers. Storm, Jordan, Hey Mouty, GM&R, Orn Claptu and Bram on console all actually retire from the race. As we shall now wait and see slightly to see if anyone will join the party, as we do have Wouter, so at least we've got one interview.
Ooh, hello.
Hello, so we'll start off with you. Oh wait, no, we'll start off with Steban, sorry, because he did it. I was wondering if they were ordering the race. So Steban, hello, welcome. Congrats on the win today. First of all, what was that like for you? If you're here. Steban? Oh, they're joining. Okay, we'll give them a second. So, give it a minute. Steban, are you here? Yeah.
Yeah, I'm here. Oh my god.
How was that race for you then?
Whew. Man, just having Wouter just every race behind me is not ideal.
No.
I didn't have the greatest balance, so I was undershooting quite a bit. But having good traction in turn 1 really helped with my race. So, a really good win, and hopefully I can just keep this momentum up.
Yeah, with that safety car restart at the end, what was your initial thoughts seeing Rezify get past Wouter so quickly? Was it
a bit of
relief? Yeah.
Yeah, a bit of relief, but then I made a mistake in the middle sector, and I saw Wouter 4 tenths behind me, and I was 1 warning away from 3 seconds.
Oh right, that's right.
I was sweating quite a lot.
You're gonna need a shower maybe after this race then.
Yeah, for sure.
It's a great race by you. So obviously next week, is it Netherlands next week? Am I right in saying? I'm not too sure.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, home Grand Prix.
Home Grand Prix for you, and I think many of the other drivers in Division 4 as well. So wanting to win that front step of the podium again next week as well.
For sure. I'm actually going to Zandvoort tomorrow.
Oh
so,
wow.
Let me just practice standing on the podium already.
Yeah, just get a bit of practice in. That sounds that sounds like a real good experience for sure.
Yeah.
So have fun with that, and well done on your win today. Hope you celebrate it nicely.
I will. Cheers.
And so Wouter in P2, mixed. I'm sure maybe a different type of race for you today. Obviously with that championship lead, you do extend it with Japson not being here. Well, how was that for you?
Yeah, it was. I was hoping to snatch the win because we were just driving away with the two of us. I know Rezify was closing in, but the gap was pretty large. And then I was disappointed that the safety car came, and also that my restart was bad. Rezify managed to pass me, but still 18 points away from Jesper. And I think Rezify was in P2, so also 3 points over him. I think it's a pretty good Saturday.
Yeah, not seen much worse really. And yeah, obviously there's a lot of drivers today that crashed out. Was your setup like similar to that, or did you feel like your car was loose at all, or did you feel you had much control of the car?
No, mine was actually fine. I used the same last season. I knew it was good.
Oh right, Yeah, that always helps then.
Yeah, and it didn't have a lot of wings, so it was pretty super in a straight line. It was also nice.
Yeah, I think I'm going to try and copy your setup real quick then. But yeah, next week are you here for some? I can't remember if you said you were.
No, I have
You're not.
bachelor party, so.
All right, so.
Come on.
So that's why I wanted the gap to Jeff reservoir behind me.
Don't blame me inside. So yeah, championship leader. Well done on P2 today, and we'll see you here next week. But have fun on that bachelor party.
Yeah.
So, Resify, onto you now. From back of the grid, did you? I'm going to say this now. I may sound stupid. Did you have a quali ban, or was it just a mistake in quali?
I just wanted to watch it from qualifying.
Fair enough.
Tired of the bits.
Fair enough then. Yeah. So obviously you started at the back of the grid. What was that like for you driving through? Quite a lot of spins and crashes. It seemed.
It's quite eventful. I mean, I saw most of what happened. I went past every single spin, I think. It was quite exciting, but at the start I got involved with a bit of damage, which was really annoying. But it actually wasn't actually that bad at the end. P3, I'll take that.
I was going to say, with that last safety car restart, was you around just to try and get past everyone quickly and hope they get penalties, or?
I mean, yeah, kind of. I kind of just wanted to see how quick I was on the softs, because I was catching when Stuyven and Wilder were fighting, I was catching them about 5 tenths the lap, so I didn't know if I would have any more pace on the softs, but it was around about the same, and it just wasn't enough, not enough laps to get the gap. But I think they both deserve what P1 and P2 are.
Yeah, unfortunate really. But yeah, great result for you, and obviously with another, I think you go into P2 maybe in the championship, I believe, after today, so obviously
15 points, it's 100, so he's 2 behind
2 behind. Okay, so obviously Zandvoort next week, you are looking forward to that track or not?
Yeah, I love Zandvoort.
Okay, fair enough. So yeah, congrats on your podium today, well done.
Thank you.
And that will be the end of the stream today, so I need to go do some practice for my own race. So yeah, I hope you hope you all enjoyed watching, and we'll see you here next week for Zandvoort at the same time at 6:30.